afternoon, St. Louis, Missouri, Memphis, Tennessee, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Little Rock, Arkansas, Salt Lake City, Utah, Cincinnati, Ohio, Sacramento, California, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Portland, Oregon, Chicago, Illinois, Bishop, Mississippi, yes, Denver, Colorado, Selma, Alabama, Atlanta, Georgia, and also Kansas City, Missouri, home of three times Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Welcome to us to the Super Chamber Commemoration for a beautiful, beautiful another month. November the 1st, Scott.
That's right.
We had another month. By the way, today is my anniversary for the most part.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah, 27 years. To Miss Beautiful Karen, trade folks. And she will put it all together there. But anyway, we broadcast. My name is Howard Bush, host and creator of the Elder Loud, Scott Owens, and Scott is having a beautiful day already in the neighborhood.
That's right.
Yeah, okay. And also, we donated on by Mr. Turkey Bowl. And but we are broadcasting live on Ferguson USA, HotTalkRadio.com, Ferguson USA, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch from beautiful Woodton Terrace in St. Louis County, St. Louis City, and Orland, Missouri. And now, without any prayer, we have prayer with Elder Allen Lau, who's the pastor of the Walnut Park Calvary Chapel Church, located at 55 West Little Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri. That's St. Louis, Missouri, 63120. We have prayer with Elder Allen Lau, pastor of the Walnut Park Calvary Chapel Church, located at 55 West Little Avenue, 63120. Next portion here, we need that of Elder Lau, who's the pastor of the Walnut Park Calvary Chapel Church, located in North St. Louis at 55 West Little Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri. Elder Lau.
Lord, we thank you for your wonderful gospel. How that Christ died for our sin, was buried, and rose again. I continue to the saving of the soul. Continue to make heaven your home before you sleep and after you sleep. Heavenly Father, we thank you that we're already seated in heavenly places in Christ Jesus. Our name is written in the Lamb Book of Life. We already know why our name is. People say, I hope I'll be in that number and then. Well, we already know because the book tells us. These 66 books tells us that we already seated in heavenly places in Christ Jesus, and our name is written in the Lamb Book of Life because you're saved. That's why your name in the Lamb Book of Life, because you're saved.
Yes.
And bless the sick all over the universe. Don't have to dictate to the Lord, tell him what to do and all that. He know what to do. And we just thank you for what he have done and what he's going to do and what he's still doing in Jesus' most precious name. Amen.
Amen, Rev. Thank you so much for that powerful prayer. So he knows already what we need. And he knows we need what we need, that's for sure.
Amen.
What you got for us, Rev?
I'm staying in this book of Romans. The whole book of Romans talks about the gospel.
Yes, it
really
does.
All over the Bible talk about the gospel. I'm just staying in this book for special reason. The gospel saves the individual that want to believe that Jesus died for his sins, was buried, and rose again. He passed from death into life. Lady, male, boy, girl, children, everybody that believes that they go to heaven. We're in the 6th chapter of Romans.
Romans 6? Okay, sir. Now, Rev, give us that name, what you mean, the word Romans mean again this week also.
This word, what Romans means this week, it's so many words you can come up with in analyzing it. The R in it is righteousness. The O in it is open mind. The M is many. The A is able. And the N in nations.
Okay, I love it. Okay, we like that on the 6th chapter, yes, sir.
And we start with the 6th chapter, verse 1 said, in my Bible got dying to sin. This is how you be dying. This right here is what you dying to sin, and it's gonna also be in this chapter how you dying to sin. By being born again, you saying, I died like Christ, I was buried like Christ, I was resurrected in Christ, and no longer living to sin. That's the new believer in Christ, the new creation. You no longer sin. You're walking after the newness of life. Verse 1 said, what should we say then? Should we continue in sin that grace may abound? No. God forbid. How should we that are dead to sin live any longer therein? Know ye not that so many of us, as were baptized into Jesus Christ, were baptized unto his death? We died like Christ. We was buried like Christ. We rose like Christ. We're ascended in heaven like Christ because we're new believers in his new creation, in his righteousness. Therefore, we are buried with him by baptism into death, that like as Christ was raised up from the dead by the glory of the Father, even so we also should walk in the newness of life. There it is again, the new creation. But if we have been
say it again, Rev. Say it again, Rev. You gotta repeat that again.
Therefore, we are buried with him by baptism into death, that like as Christ was raised up from the dead by the glory of the Father, even so we also should walk in the newness of life. That's why we did to sin too. Believe it. For if we have been planted together in the likeness of his death, we should be also in the likeness of his resurrection. Knowing this, that our old man is crucified with him, that the body of sin might be destroyed, that henceforth we should not serve sin. This is a daily thing. All through the day, night, whenever the Lord wake you up, it's all through that. And even in your sleep, it's the same. You walking in the newness of life.
Yes, sir.
For he that is dead is free from sin. Now, if we be dead with Christ, we believe that we should also live with him, knowing that Christ, being raised from the dead, died no more. Death had no more dominion over him. For in that he died unto sin once, but in that he liveth unto God. Likewise, reckon ye also yourselves to be dead indeed unto sin, but alive unto God through Jesus Christ our Lord. That's the believer. Let not sin therefore reign in your mortal body, that you should obey it in the lust thereof. Neither yield ye your members as instruments of unrighteousness unto sin, but yield yourselves unto God as those that are alive from the dead, and your members as instruments of righteousness unto God. For sin should not have dominion over you, but ye are not under the law, but under grace. What then? Should we sin because we are not under the law, but under grace? No, or God forbid. Know ye not that to whom ye yield yourself servants to obey, his servants ye are to whom ye obey, whether of sin unto death or of obedience unto righteousness. But God be thanked that ye were the servants of sin. Ye have obeyed from the heart that form of doctrine which was delivered you. Being then made free from sin, ye became the servants of righteousness. I speak after the manner of men because of the infirmity of your flesh. For as ye have yielded your members servants to uncleanness and to iniquity unto iniquity, even so now yield your members servants to righteousness unto holiness. But when ye were the servants of sin, ye were free from righteousness. What fruit had ye then in those things whereof ye are now ashamed? For the end of those things is death. But now being made free from sin and become servants to God, ye have your fruit unto holiness, and the end everlasting life. For the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ, our Lord. May the Lord have a blessing to the reader and hearer of his word.
Go ahead.
Welcome back to Lunch with the Missoula Team Commerce for a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Back, we have a brand new month in November. Matter of fact, this is one of those months. Well, this month I said special to me, always October 1st, right after Halloween, my anniversary. But most important for all of you, okay, this is the time of the year that you have to set that clock backwards 1 hour. So tonight at 2 a.m., you need to set your clock back to 1 a.m. And this marks the change of your clock. You know, if we go back, we start standard time. And that means that you're going to lose, you're going to gain an hour's sleep. And that's why you're going to gain a whole hour's sleep. And doing that, it's a good thing for you because when you gain that hour's sleep, you're going to feel like you had lost an hour's sleep, people sleep. But that's how, excuse me, that's how this thing with time works itself out. But it's a good thing for us that we get that hour's sleep. And as we doing that, one of the things that as we get down to this same time of the year, Martin, it's kind of bad this year here in St. Louis as we deal with the science. But anyway, we have had a crazy week, first of all, here in our country. But the good news about this all is that our president did have a safe trip and that he's now back home in our country, and that is a good thing. And he visited with one of the most important news came out of the trip that we all waited for was what would happen when he got to China with President Xi Jinping. And that went very well. As a matter of fact, he described his face-to-face meeting with the Chinese leader as a roaring success, and that he would be cutting tariffs in China while being agreed to allow the export of rare earth elements and start buying American soybeans. Now, right now, the American soybeans according to our people in our country right now, they're not too happy about. They're happy about the soybeans, okay, but right now they're more less concerned that they have lost a season when they would be the self no that well, if you're not aware, these things take place in a season. And so right now, American farmers welcome President China's promise about some of their soybean, but of course this won't solve all the problems as they continue to deal with soaring prices for fertilizers, tractors, repair parts, and seeds. And this doesn't include them taking care of their workers and stuff. The Chinese have found to buy at least 25 million metric tons of soybean annually for the next 3 years. But see, that's for the next 3 years. Right now, it's not doing us too good right now because right now, I just described to you some things that need to take place right now. Tractors are breaking down when you have to get the parts. And the bad part about all of this, the prices have gone up on everything. Everything where you go now, I always tell people, ask yourself a question that was used years ago at some election. Or you got off today than you were this time last year. Or you got off today this time last year. Well, right now, this time last year, we were hoping the prices would come down. You thought the egg prices would come down. They went up. We were thinking that coffee prices would go down. They went up. So right now, most of the things that we had anticipated going in another direction are going in the opposite direction. And so that is creating more problems for people, especially as we go into this period of time now where we are having problems with our government, where we're going to a shutdown going into the third week. That's what I said. This is into day 30 or 32. This is the first. So right now, and the bad part about this, there is no end in sight. You get more discussions in the press. This is the second month, but also the bad part about this, the House of Representatives and the Senate, they're not in D.C. to have these discussions that's needed, and also the president's not even in D.C. now. So again, but see, we need to understand as we look at the badness about the House of Representatives not being in session. Well, if you recall, we got into this because they're trying now to do a stopgap bill. Well, that's because the House of Representatives had not put together the bills that was needed for us to operate. And those bills, in case you forgot, they had to pay for the housing bills that put together. These are the budgets that they run on. They had put together a referendum for that. They had put together bills and they included the housing, the urban development. This is how you get government money to your different developments in your local cities and stuff. And also in agencies, like also from you didn't get a chance to talk about our foreign operations, which is always big. That they didn't get a chance to do their own legislative budgets for Congress themselves. The health and labor bills that didn't get done, nor did human services, and even education. And the reason on education, the Republicans are now trying to phase out education. So again, these bills should be put in place, and like energy bill, excuse me, for water development, financial security, the general development, defense department, economics, justice and science, and all these departments, agriculture, I just mentioned to you there, all those budgets had to be put in place. Well, unfortunately, they're saying that the House did not have time to do that. Well, they've been out on session for the longest. Now, this time could have been put to good use. Those bills could have been put together by now. And so now, they said that they didn't have time to do that. Well, that was true. But what had happened in the last couple of weeks now that the House of Representatives have been out of session. Now, one reason that they've been out of session is that we have to look across the pond, as we like to say it, over in London. Now, this is something that's really affects us here in our country in a lot of ways. one of the things that the houses didn't want to do is if they went into session, they would have to schedule a swearing-in ceremony for the senator from for the congresswoman from Arizona. Well, if that was to take place, that would give the Democrats 218 votes, would allow them to open up the Epstein files. Now you said you keep hearing about the Epstein. How bad is this? Well, this past week, okay, to tell you how bad it is, over in London, Prince Andrews, one of the royal family members, was stripped. You know what I'm saying? Was stripped of all his royal privileges. He's no longer Prince Andrews. He lost the place that he was living at. Or that means a lot when you lose your home. And so, right now he's out of the palace now. He doesn't have the privileges that he had in the past. And so now he's trying to figure out what he's going to do next. And by the way, these privileges were taken away from him by his brother, Prince King Charles. It's kind of hard. That's so used to saying Prince Charles, but now he's King Charles. Well, the king made the decision, and guess what? Those things have to take place. Now, right now, as this is taking place, this could be going through Congress here in our own country. So these are some of the things that we could be talking about in our Congress while we are out. We could have been talking about now how to put together some bills right now. One of the biggest things that you're hearing about is not the time change, but what's going to take place now that this month has got here, and the federal budget has now officially been out for 30 days now. And unfortunately, during that time period, there were certain things again that could be done. Now, one of the things that's taking place right now, SNAP benefits. Now, this is something that's important to a lot of people. Now, SNAP benefits are not just for the poor people. SBA, had planned to make these payments, but now they can make these payments. Keep in mind, we got to think back a little bit. At the first part of President Trump's campaign, remember a guy named Elon Musk would go around cutting budgets and stuff. He was cutting. Well, in a lot of the departments, he cut out the most important people that will work on putting together the budgets and stuff. And so right now, not only is our government, not prepared, because now federal judges are saying you tell President Trump he must continue to fund SNAP. Now this affects over 40-something million people. And this is not just something that's in the Democratic states. This is in red states, blue states, and independent states where you have independents, the governors and the Democratic governors, because these benefits, have the food programs for the morning program for the kids that's going to school in the morning time. It's say about one in 8 Americans, would be saved by the social net that we put in place. See, we have to understand that a lot of these programs that we're looking at, that you're saying it doesn't affect me, it does. It does. In Missouri alone, we're looking at over 65,000 people in Missouri are being affected by this program right now. And that is not a good thing, because being on the weekend, that means that the order that the judges put in place, well, they cannot be carried out because it's taking place on the weekend. And so that means that we're unable to follow up, on the judge's orders, because again, the people home for the weekend. And so this is creating a whole lot of problems that we do not necessarily need. And also, as we look at this now, we have to look at the bigger problem that we're having. And that bigger problem is that as we're looking at the things that we need to deal with, we're not being able to deal with now. And uh, as usual, you want your computer to come up when you want it to come up. Okay, it doesn't want to do right at the right time. Okay, but that's okay. But anyway, I understand. Right now, you think that's a bad one there. I got another good one for you. But right now, the House of Representatives and the Mike Johnson. Okay, here we are. This Congressman, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, continues to say that there's no business. Well, you wonder why the senators are back now, and they're starting to get calls from some of the people that's on both sides of the aisle, as they like to say, are now saying it's time for us to have some more discussion. I just talked about this shutdown. When it comes to the programs, federal judge. It was two federal judges. First is Iwana Tawali. And she always said that they need to do this. Pay the money. The president is now trying to say he wants to create, somebody to sue or somebody to find out. Well, see, all these lawsuits right now, all they're doing, it's delaying something right now. Billions of dollars that should be being released to these programs. Well, already, they missing a couple of days already for this to take place. And each day right now it's difficult because this is the daycares around the country. All countries in the states in our union have daycare centers in the United States where people go to work and stuff. Okay, or need daycare. Are you in your schools now? We have the lunch programs where people can't afford to have meals. So right now, this is creating a lot of problems with this. And a lot of places you go now, you haven't seen these food drives. Well, people have a problem right now. Several reasons. Last week we talked about the farmers saying that they were upset that President Trump gave billions of dollars to Argentina, and while we're gonna buy their beef, and bring it back here. Well, all the promises in Argentina that they get money right now, but the promise for our country here, okay, is in years to come. And that's not doing us any good right now. I just told you 3 minutes ago that the tractors are breaking down, and people, are saying, what about us right now? And as the uncertainty increases about what to do next, that's what makes it matter so crazy here. Normally, you have your congressman, that you could talk to and get some direction. Well, that's the congressman's job. He is to be able to provide you this direction in a time of crisis like we are in now. In our country right now, we've been down for 31 days, and it's not exactly been time put to good use, because all you've been hearing about, at least I know here in the St. Louis area, in the Kansas City area, all you're doing here now is talking about SNAP benefits being taken away from us, but we have not been talking about us getting those monies restored, and that's why the federal judge at the last minute, came and got into play. And yes, it's against the law. Well, anyway, we all knew this was against the law a long time ago. This is no surprise. That's how we have emergency reserve funds, just in case something goes wrong. We're able to make sure right away. Okay, we can take care of our people, and all this is in the backdrop that starting today. A lot of people are losing their insurance benefits. You're talking about your prices going up as we have this discussion, and when they go up, there's no discussion about them coming down, and there's nothing to replace the money that you previously that you had to have. So right now, this is not a good time, and also we're also looking at some of the benefits that the trip that President Trump had. One is, and this is kind of crazy too, by the way. One is what happened with the trade with China, which most time we get stuff from China, we begin to say the most time we go to the Christmas season. So now as we began getting Christmas decorations up early, Halloween is behind us now. So now we have Thanksgiving, and the price of food, the turkeys is going up, and everything that you have on your table from last year will be going to be more expensive. And so now as we talk about things going up, we have to look about how do we afford those things. Well, right now we don't have a budget. We don't have people in Congress that's coming together to tell us. But one thing I can tell you for a fact that the mortgage rate has dropped, which is a good thing, and also another good thing was that we had that when there's these tariffs that were being imposed, on fentanyl, which is something that becomes a very much used drug in our country. Well, the prices was cut on the tariffs. But even as President Trump celebrated his negotiation with China, the United States Senate. Now, this is important, people, what I'm about to say to you. As the Chinese, as Trump was celebrating that victory in China on his return, we found out, we found out that the United Senate passed a resolution Thursday that would undo all of many of his tariffs that he's imposed around the globe. See, the president is not supposed to be the one that set tariffs. That's a whole long process. It's not supposed to change from day to day. And that's why we have all this turmoil now, mainly because the Republicans in the House and the Senate that has given up the responsibility of setting the tariffs. Well, right now, the president cannot, like I said, they passed a resolution this past Thursday that would undo many of the tariffs that have been imposed by the president. Is that good? It is okay, but it's going to create more confusion. And I tell you some message about it's going to create more confusion. And this is something that's really small in our country, but it's a big thing. City banks and retailers, guess what? They're running short of pennies. They're running short of pennies. Okay. Earlier this year, President Trump decided to stop producing pennies, and to start having, and this is starting to have real complications nowadays. You say complications. Well, right now, across our country, in our stores, our business merchants right now, they're having problems in different regions of the country, and we're getting run out of pennies. So they're kind of making change now. They have a problem because the pennies with the lack of fuel gap, so was nickels. Well, this year back in February, President Trump said that it costs too much for us to make the penny. So he said, stop making a penny. Well, they stopped making the pennies, okay. And when they did that, and matter of fact, the president said stop making the pennies because he felt, and it was kind of costly. Said they've been more expensive to make. Well, usually cost 3.7% to make a penny. To make a nickel, it takes 13.8 cents to make a nickel. Well, the United States Treasury Department said in May of this year, it would replace its last order to order the copper zinc pancake. This is the disc, okay, about which they make the pennies and the nickels. Well, the last pennies were minted back in June, and they were distributed back in August. So that means until August, there are no more pennies being made. And now with Congress being out of session, there are no plans now to address that issue. That's going to come up very shortly. And I know going into this holiday season, a lot of people are going to be using the pennies. A lot of people are looking out how they can make change. And as it turned out, this is just my prediction. If you hold on to your little your penny banks and stuff, they got to become more valuable. Because when you go to your grocery stores, they're going to be running out of pennies. Everywhere you go, the federal government, they used to supply the pennies to us now, are not in a position to do that. And that's going to create a whole lot of problems. And another thing that's going to create a lot of problems here, around the country this past weekend, I should say, we had NBA basketball return to the to NBC, and we have those basketball games. But also, we have the problem that with the gambling in the basketball. So one of the coaches, some of the players been indicted. Some of them was incarcerated, and now gambling is beginning to become a little bit more. Here in our state of Missouri, we just passed a resolution last year that allowed betting to come into our state. And I said betting, we've been having a lottery, but right now, Missouri has been trying to put together its betting framework, which was going to the kind of scandal that's been developed around other places. This time, Missouri being last may have some benefits because we're seeing now what is taking place in other states. Ideally, we can benefit from their experiences and not have to go through the bad time. But right now, Missouri's they call it gambling czar. Is overseeing the rollout of the state's program, which we already now have some problems, but it's not as bad as some other places. And right now, we're looking for how we can get around those scenarios. And also, one of the things that we've been hearing about, but it didn't hit us directly, was the Hurricane Melissa that down in the Bahamas there. It hit the islands kind of badly. I think it was like very bad. I said very bad. It was like a 0.5 hurricane, and that's one of the hurricanes you get up to a 5. That's some strong hurricanes, the tornadoes and hurricanes. You get that speed, okay? That means that there being destruction to a lot of people. And a lot of things that we don't understand sometimes is that in our government that we have, especially this time of year, and we're getting back to school, we're finding here in Missouri, St. Louis City, we got our own share of problems. Matter of fact, we now have a new person in charge of our school system. They fired the superintendent a couple weeks ago. And now we also have discussions in St. Louis County about how we need to move out of the building, the headquarters for the council. We call our city hall there now. It needs to be replaced. Then also to make matters worse for people right now. We're going into an election season where people are now being afraid because of the shutdowns. They're trying to shut down the schools. For how we can get things done. In cities, because right now immigration is getting to the point that every city you go to now, you have these ICE attacks. Now, even while this is going on, the ICE officials have problem recruiting. As you notice in the last couple of weeks there, you're hearing more and more now about the people that they're recruiting to be ICE agents. Guess what? They overweight. They're not passing the test. The background test is not passing them. Now they're trying to rush them through. Well, this is not good. This is not good. And also, while we fight amongst ourselves around the world, we used to be a place where people came to, say they as leaders and stuff. But right now, we've been involved, we've been involved in the wars going on over in the Middle East. Well, while this past week, okay, We have had, Scott, I got a technical problem. Let's take a small break, okay?
Alrighty. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into a small break. Thank you for staying with us.
Welcome back to Lunch with Jimmy Conrad, on the beautiful Saturday afternoon. I was about to get into some of the policies that are local politics. I was saying here in the St. Louis area, we have replaced our superintendent schools. We have a lot of turmoil going on in our city government now. And one of the top steel officials is our sheriff department, and the sheriff right now has been replaced, which is kind of something that's unheard of. He's been replaced on an interim basis now because guess what? He's in federal prison, and he was trying to run the sheriff department from jail. So the federal judge decided that he could not do that. So they appointed an interim police chief, and that interim police chief is none other than our former police chief, John Hayden, who is our former police chief for a number of years. Did a great job in the department. So now he was asked to step back into government now, and he agreed to, and so he is now our new sheriff. And so this is some good news, and that we will have some stability there in our St. Louis area. We haven't unfortunately a lot of killings taking place, a lot of murders are going up. Matter of fact, this past weekend we had something that I thought was just diabolical. We reported a couple of months ago that a family was driving home from the service station, and somebody kind of drove by them and shot them, and the father got shot, and then one of the babies got shot. He got killed, matter of fact. Well, this past week, the brother got murdered because they felt that he may have saw who was, and these are not even teenagers. These young babies losing their lives unnecessarily. So here in St. Louis, that's a gun violence, the carjacking, and murders continue to increase. They are, and like I said, now we need to have some kind of stability. And although they're saying crime is going down, we're going to talk about that a lot in the upcoming session. There's things going on around the country, not just in our city, but in a lot of inner cities that are taking place. Another thing that we are talking about when the day is out is on May the 16th was the day that we never forget. That's when we had a hurricane. The tornado came through St. Louis. But right now, this is Ferguson, USCHotTalk.com. Not too much about taking operation. My name is Howard Post. Scott, take us out of here. in Lancaster, Missouri, Chamber of Commerce for a beautiful, beautiful Saturday afternoon, November the 1st, 2025. I am so honored to have what we call one of our family members come back home and get to visit with us for a little while. I'm talking about none other than Iceberg. Mr. Well, I won't tell you the full name, I always mess it up. Iceberg, how you doing, sir?
That's Eugene Salenzi, you know.
I know. I would tell you. I got Eugene down pat, okay?
Yeah, my government name, Eugene Salenzi. Hello there.
Yeah, we get to that point. I didn't want to do that, okay? But how you doing? How you doing, brother? How you doing? How you been doing? Okay. How you been doing, Iceberg? I'm here to echo. Iceberg, I'm here to echo.
Okay, let me see what we got here.
Okay, now I can hear you now. You were on the telephone.
Okay, how's it sound now?
No, I got you right now. Okay, you sound much better. Okay.
Okay.
Now, all right. Let's start over again. How have you been doing? Well, what have you been doing?
You're in a cave again, Iceberg.
You want to echo again?
That's
right.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, for the past 6 years, I've been, since after the pandemic came and we ceased the operations over there for a while, I came here and sitting around the house, decided to, hey, why not try to broadcast my own thing? And it's been working out pretty good for the past 6 years. That's all I'm doing, and trying to keep the community informed on different issues that's going on, which is what we have to do. And I compliment you and Scott and all that you all do out at Ferguson Hot Talk Radio, doing the same thing and keeping awareness of the community. For sure, that's exactly what we need.
Yeah, that's why Ferguson University Hot Talk Radio.com was created, to keep the community informed about what's going on in our neighborhoods, and not only we try to broadcast the news that hear about in our neighborhood, because they always affect our neighborhoods.
Exactly.
And people say, well, it don't affect me. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And I just was talking a few minutes ago, you've been a businessman, your family has been this for years, and the little small penny that everybody take for granted is about to disappear.
Yeah.
In the stores, I mean, they have a lot of penny things that's not there nowadays. Okay, but that could make a big difference with small merchants.
Exactly, it does. Speaking of our family business, and my mom used to get on me all the time because the kids would come in there and buy a candy bar and put up those 2 quarters of 50 cents. And I used to say, it's not 50 cents, it's 53. You got to pay your taxes, I mean, those 3 cents going to add up for a small business. And when they look at it, it might seem so small, but that's in reality. So we see what's going to happen with that. But it is. Those pennies are very instrumental to a merchant. The bottom line of it is.
It is. Matter of fact, unfortunately, and I'm not sure how this is going to go, Iceberg, and I pray for the best here. And with Congress being out of session, they can't address this, but they're going to have to pass a new law to start making pennies again, because the president stopped that process. So no longer will are they making pennies for us right now. And that means that those 3 pennies that you don't even would pay the taxes with, which is kind of a low price for taxes, because we all know taxes are much higher nowadays than that. Okay, but those pennies are going to be missed.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it work out. I'm saying, what happens when so you just start putting 5 pennies together to make the nickel?
Well, no,
because if you rounded it off with no pennies, so that means the final sale gonna have to be at a 5 or a 10, correct?
Yes, sir. Well, no. They start making the nickels will go next also, because the little small the mold that they use to make the nickels also, they start making that one also.
Oh, I haven't heard that. They planning on stopping making the nickel?
Well, right now, as it turned out, what they're doing, let me get my notes. Let me make sure we get this right here. Okay. Well, we want to make sure we always get the facts straight. What they're doing, Iceberg, they have stopped making. I think stopped back in June is when they stopped. All right. Okay. Now, what happened is, they have it's a little small metal disc that's minted to pennies and nickels. And so the last time pennies were minted was back in June and distributed by August. So right now, they start making those the molds, I would call it, for lack of a better description.
Right, I understand. Yeah, well, I knew about the penny, but I hadn't heard about the nickel.
Well, they hadn't talked about the nickel yet, okay, but right now, that same mold, okay, is used for both the pennies and the nickels.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And that's what I'm saying. If that same disc is being used for both of them, just a matter of time if we had that discussion. And like most times in our government, we don't get the whole story sometimes.
No, sometimes we don't. We have like the whole story as in Project 2025.
Right. Well, right now let's talk local, something that we know all about. Okay, let's talk about local. Okay. Right now, you've been a man in about North St. Louis for all of our lives. We have been, but you've been very much, businessman, work with different businesses. How has the comeback been coming from the tornado that hit us on May 16th?
There hasn't been no comeback. You can ride around and see the same thing that you saw on May the 17th. After the hurricane on May the 16th. A couple of organizations. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing.
Yeah, I'm just saying that there's some of, my business, family business was here, and I personally know all of the people that was devastated by the tornado, and know all of them that happens to be, I can't say to this day that one that was devastated by it completely knocked out and has returned or even start working on their building at all.
Wow.
No resources.
Yeah, I know, right? No resources, and you've been hearing about how the rehab is taking place in South St. Louis, okay, which and the money is going there. But now, we get into city politics, the money for North St. Louis, the federal government has not come in like they normally will in most cases. It's about the cleanup they normally get. We still wait for places to be cleaned up. We still waiting. A lot of the homes still got blue tops on them. I mean, and like I said, it's just devastating that we just been left behind, for lack of a better description.
As far as the cleanup is concerned, you can still ride through certain parts of the area and still find debris from it. And one of the facilities that they use to store all this cleanup is right in the heart of the ville at Marshall School.
Right.
So it seems like, if anything, with the facility where you storing that stuff, we should have everything around the corner, not still on our lots and stuff. When you bring the stuff all the way from the other side of Delmore Avenue and putting it on a vacant school lot in the ville. And make you add it up,
Yeah, well, it's up to chaos.
That we what?
that adds up to chaos, I said.
Yeah, I mean, it's just there. It's that if we got this area where all of these trees and branches are being stored from other parts of the city that got hit, it seems like our neighborhood here shouldn't have all of this debris still sitting in the front of our homes and on our lot this time, so far after. But those are the things that's there, and the businesses were so devastated. I know some that said they're not coming back, and some had insurance, but won't because the neighborhood is gone. One told me, I got insurance, I can bring my store back, but he's an elderly man, and he's saying that the neighborhood is going to be 10 to 15 years before the neighborhood becomes something of substance to where a business would want to come in and put it there. So that's where we at over here.
Right, and that's the thing. Okay, if you don't have the customers, which are your neighbors that used to be there, they used to call them neighborhood stores for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, we had a whole block blown away.
I was at blocks and blocks, down there, I know too well, but the Harlem Tap Room, that area down there, we just wiped out down Martin Luther King Avenue, which was the main thoroughfare. That was devastated. You go down Taylor Avenue, you didn't use it. Even our old barbershop, thank God they had moved. But that area got wiped out almost entirely.
Yeah, I truly believe that it sat there for a little bit for it to do so much damage going on into that area there. And, they did a lot of damage to the Urban League as well. And areas up there where Sweetie Pie is redeveloping. So it was just very devastating for our neighborhood here.
I swear that they don't talk about this, but one of the things that when this tornado hit, North St. Louis was in the process of being coming out of a hole and was making some changes to improve our neighborhoods. And when the tornado came through, that set all that back further, for lack of a better description. It just took them way back. We were kind of developing things for our neighborhood. The monies that had came in previously was about to start to be spent, to do some rehabbing, and all that work they were doing. Like some people had their homes, started working on rehabbing them, and they were getting close to finishing them up when the tornado hit. And then unfortunately they could not they had put money into the rehab that they could not get back from the insurance company because they could not get insurance on the money they had spent.
Yeah,
they got caught in the middle.
That's exactly. That's what the whole situation is here with a lot of residents that came through this, were victim of this tragedy. It's just they're looking for a helping hand or somewhere to go.
Yeah, and for a while, everybody was talking about, and that's what happens, like, when something bad happens, everybody comes to your rescue. But it's what happened the day after, where are people then? And now, we hear about the money that we here in St. Louis area, listen to the Board of Alderman now said we're going to put some money into our St. Louis. Well, unfortunately, those people who got devastated, they gone someplace else now because they had to survive.
Exactly. Because, as I said, it stated that this gentleman with this business, he had the business here over 50 years.
Wow.
And he would love to, but as I said, his age and the work that's got to be put in completely is better for his building. Of course, if he'd been in it 50 years and he was there prior to it, you know how old the building is. So it's only one thing to do is to tear it down and build something else. And it just don't have the energy for that. And And as he said, when you look at the future of it, they said what they're going to do here in the field. They said what they're going to do in down Martin Luther King Drive. But I heard that in 1999 when our family bought the business there. And it's still not here.
Right.
So,
You're breaking up, Ira.
Okay, hold on a second. One second. I just got.
Let's go to a break and reset. No.
Okay. Take a small break. We have technical difficulties. Hold on, Iceberg.
sure, I'm here.
Good afternoon, St. Louis, Missouri, in the metropolitan area, and I say around the world. We are so happy to have a around the world man, Iceberg. We just been kind of reviewing some of the issues that we are facing here in the St. Louis area. You hear a lot about what's going on, and a lot of things that are taking place. And one of the things that Iceberg, we're gonna come back to some things about our neighborhood, but in our broadcast community, we have been devastated. Also, a lot of our leaders in the industry have passed away. Tell us a bit about the great Doug Easton, who passed away recently.
Oh, legend, no doubt about it. Pioneer.
Right, yeah.
Television star. Doug Easton goes back with me. I don't know if you remember the Black Circle record.
Yes,
it used to come on Channel 30, and he was a host of that, and he used to give me passes to come down there every Saturday. That was more like the St. Louis Hop.
That was prior to the St. Louis Hop.
Yeah, and that's where my first experience with Doug, and. Then as years went by, he came into a place and saw I was in there spinning records, and he was like, "Oh yeah, where you on?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I went down to the station one day and told Doug, "Yeah, I want to go on the air." And he said, "Oh yeah." He said, took me in the room and gave me a commercial to read. And man, that commercial, that was the hardest thing to do. And he said doing it in 60 seconds, and it was like about 3 minutes long. And Doug said, "Go get you some education and come back."
Well, wait, at least he was honest with you. That's
Doug Easton was an educator. After he got off radio, he taught radio broadcasting. I was just saying for those out there that don't know. And by the way, while we're talking about Doug, on my Facebook on Iceberg's radio show, we got a tribute that his daughter made up on the life and legacy of Doug Easton. So anyone can go there. It should be on several people's pages, but I do know it's on mine, and it's out there, and
it tells you a lot of people that I don't know who might not know Doug, but yeah, one of our pioneers. And then also Cherry Boyd, better known as Cherry the Bad Boy Houston.
Let's stop right there. Give us your how they can get to get to that location, to get that information.
What location is that?
For my Doug Easton, that's on your site.
Iceberg's radio show.
Okay.
On Facebook.
Okay. So that's how they can go to Facebook and put in Iceberg Radio Show.
Exactly. Go to my page. It's posted on my page.
Okay.
Yeah. And so Terry, me and Terry kind of came up more closer together in our age and during our time as DJing and so forth. We had a more club relationship, and he was a club owner as well at the end of things.
Okay, now when you say club owner, because I remember Terry from high school. We come from high school days. Okay, when we went to summer school together, in old Northwest those days during the summer. Because it was when you were high school back in those days. But I remember Terry, Bad Boy Houston, got his name because I remember we on the Bi-State bus coming home, after school. Terry got to fight on the bus. Him and the guy was in the back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the bus got to rocking, okay. And the guy there, was a smart aleck type person, and he met with the wrong person, okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, so that's how Terry kind of got that. I mean, in those days, almost all people were going to Northwest and to catch, to tell the bus to go north, okay, to get up there. And so that bus gave you a lot of notoriety from a lot of people, from South St. Louis was on the bus.
Yeah, well, I know Terry would be one that never was one to play with, as you said, though.
No.
Yeah, he's a great guy, but no one to play with as well,
Oh yeah, no, he's the first one. He was a very no nonsense person.
Mm-hmm.
And if you wanted to if you tell him something, okay, make sure you kept your word. You're not one you want to lie to. But now he and I was friends for years and years and years and years and years and years, okay. And and like yourself, okay, a lot of you guys came over to this record shop at Hudson Nimitz Records and Tapes from time to time.
Well, you asked about his club, so you didn't know that he had a club down in Northland Shopping Center next to the Ambassador.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I meant when I said club owner. Yeah.
Oh no, I know what you knew, but I want our audience to know what you meant when you said clubbing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, but he left a legacy behind and a lot of memories, I'm sure, for a lot of people, not just on the radio, but the good times they had out there at Studio. I believe it was Studio 104. It was called Studio 104, 105. But it was in Northland Shopping Center right next to the Ambassador.
Mm-hmm. Now, Terry, and I know Terry also worked, most time a full-time job. He was also a deputy sheriff out in St. Louis County also in the courtrooms. Yeah,
and he had some years over there where he worked with Central Medical Center over there.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So he's all over the community,
Yeah, he's all over the community.
And I guess the thing about people like Terry, like most of us, we all did more than one thing, but at the same time, we all were giving back, trying to get into this broadcast industry, which wasn't a lot of us in it at that time, doing things, and I was fortunate, like we go back to Doug Easton, that I met Doug from my time to when he was at KTZ. When I first got into radio my own self, and I had my little radio station that I was general manager of, and at that time I was the youngest black general manager in the country, and Doug probably was one of the few black general managers in the whole country also. He was at KTZ where he did great. In fact, what Doug Easton did at KTZ, he was like a beacon and the open door to a lot of people getting into the industry. And that's what we do, okay? People who are pioneers reach behind, okay, and say, come on, the door is open, put your foot in the door. You hear that conversation, put your foot in the door and hold it open for somebody to get through. Well, that's what Doug Easton did.
I am so glad that you brought that up, man, because that is exactly what I know going back in radio that you did. But it's the situation of like so much I feel, and it's my personal opinion, and personally going through with different people, is like nobody, that door doesn't open no more. Like you said, extend it out. When my first radio show, when I got hired, and that was through little Stevie, being personal friends his, is probably the most important factor that got me to WESL. But I came behind Doug, and as I mentioned earlier, when I went 40 years ago or 30 years ago, however way it was, when I came back and he said, well, I see you got educated, you know.
Yeah, right.
And he welcomed me to the airways, you know, and that was it. But trying to make way is, I mean, it's just like you said, the pioneers that's there need to open up the doors, just like me over here at my station. My station is open for any of the local personalities that want to do anything that they're open to do. That's why I made it, so it could be access for that. But that's how we got to keep it going.
You know, actually, you just raised something that people probably not aware of outside of our St. Louis area. One of the stations that was around called Double Helix. It was a public access radio station. You know, and they got into operation because of the cable industry when they came in, and they were able to get a lot of people who got involved volunteering at W Helix. They got on the air, over 80-some people down there, and that station just got bought out and just got closed down, period. And so now you got about all those volunteers were there who got a hand up themselves to get into the industry now are looking for a home.
Yeah, well, yeah. Some of them have found new homes, but the bottom line is the listenership has got to be created all over again, and that
right, yeah.
That takes time for them as well. And
and also, Iceberg, one of the things that you do on your show, I love it so much, okay, is that you still go back into the good old times and bring the music, okay, that make people feel good.
Well, thank you for that compliment, and I appreciate it. But, you know, I try to play songs that the people haven't heard. There's so many stations that playing the same song that they hear. That's my strategy of playing something that takes you back in radio days. I don't get live on Facebook and do live things because I still believe in the old tradition of like the long range and sitting by the radio listening to the program and being involved in it, you know?
Right.
And you don't want to see me visually doing what? Just moving back and forth. But, you know, that's each and every other person's choice. But I try to keep it simple, on-time radio. And promote the new artists as well. And just keep the old artists in our memory that we say keeping the blues and R&B alive.
Well, see, that's the thing, Iceberg. You know, when we are on the air, okay, it's our job to let people know what's going on in our communities. I mean, because I take the airways very, very personal, and I'm honored to be on the air to be able to have somebody listen to us as we talk. And so I want to make sure we give them the facts about what the truth is, and not a lot of misguided information about I heard through the grapevine. because there's too much I heard through the grapevine going on already, and that's all that does is take our community down a different road they don't need to go down to create more confusion.
Exactly. It's just too much, especially out there on Facebook. And there's so many ways that you can verify by going to different trusted sites.
Right now, all of us, Iceberg, you notice now that people don't go around trying to tell you encyclopedias like they did in years gone by. We all got encyclopedias in our hands every day.
I don't know who I was talking to. I said the same thing exactly. That was there. I think I brought up about encyclopedias. I haven't seen none, or it wouldn't be. You got an encyclopedia where you put anything that you want to find out. You can halfway get there by Googling it and then going from there, and not saying that everything that you read, but mostly you can kind of clarify what is and what's not. Well,
it tells you enough for you to make you want to go further. If you really want to know the facts, okay?
Exactly.
It opens the door to get you on the right page and going in the right direction.
Exactly.
And what that does, it allows you, to understand where the facts may be that you're looking for.
That's what I use it for.
Yeah, I mean, but for the most part, like I said, there was a time people, old age like us, people were proud to have on their shelves, these encyclopedias, the whole, different versions of them. They would come out every year, and people would go door to door selling them. And you proud to have encyclopedias on, but right now, can you just imagine how much? There's one volume, okay, and they had, if you're not aware of what encyclopedias were, they had like volume A, volume for B, and they had all about everything fit up on the A in that one book. Could you imagine right now trying to put all those books in your hand? Would you have them in your telephone or your laptop or your tablet?
Technology is a great thing to have, and it's also, as everything, always used to do the unthinkable sometimes. But yeah, and that's a great tool to use. But it's also this something that you have to monitor with your kids and things. For sure.
Well, see, not only the Iceberg is that such a true statement. We have to understand that, again, when you and I are on the air, people who are not aware what is going on right now, and you know a little bit about this more so than most people, okay, since you were in small business before, how food stamp and the SNAP benefits affect our communities. And how important it is to make sure those benefits come into our community.
Well, yeah, they have to come in, and we have to bring in our community by supporting our community. I mean, the it's just that I just brought it up, and we don't have to get in deep with it, but this is one when we were going back in the election, and why it's so important to register to vote and support your neighborhood and your community by the power of your vote. Educating your children that that's not using it, and all of it to come together and use that power to defeat the different issues that they have, because that's the only way it's going to be done.
Sometimes we can make mistakes, or people can make mistakes. I think here in St. Louis, I just mentioned a little while earlier, briefly, about we have a situation with our sheriff, Alfred Montgomery, who just beat out a veteran to win that job. It's a state job inside the city government, and he won, closer. But he came in there, but he didn't have any idea of what his job consists of. And that's why I tell people, you go into these positions, okay, learn your basic fundamentals. No matter what you do, okay, there's always some basic fundamentals that you need to do to make sure things take place. And if you take care of your basics, okay, they will make sure that everything else take care of you. Am I right, Iceberg?
Absolutely right, and not making politics a personality contest, because the popularity that you have is not right if they're not qualified for what they're doing. Just because they want, just because I want to be the president of Board of Aldermen doesn't mean that I'm qualified to.
Right.
Just because I just sat in on some of the automatic meetings down there, I can't say qualifies me to.
And that's where what you just said, okay, with the sheriff department, what Mr. Montgomery had been a former deputy, okay, I think he got fired while he was down there, as opposed to learning what the office consists of. He campaigned against the office, okay, and he made the mistake. But when he came in, he fired everybody in his office, so people understand how we got here. He fired everybody that was the managers who were there previously from the previous sheriff. Well, the first thing that you want to do, okay, is you want to keep those people there so they can teach you where the keys are to the safe. Or how to get around. Or how to do your payroll sheets. Well, he fired all those people right away, and guess what? They sued him. And they won. Because he did what he was doing.
Yeah, well, I mean, and when you ignore the ones that do know, then they just let you go on out there. And that goes back to knowing when to hold it and knowing when to fold it.
I heard, there's so many times that we have these songs that we all listen to, in blues and country music, okay. All those songs are about personal experience people have experienced, as they live their everyday lives.
I have sat in just a general atmosphere with an artist and something happened, or we say something or happen, and they sit there and write the song before they leave.
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing you know, I looked and they called me and said, "Hey, you know what we did down there? I'm gonna send you a copy of it." And that's when I realized. I mean, when I started being one-on-one with artists, that the songs that's there is the reality of their life.
It is.
Or something that they just saw, And I was like, man, these, I know that. And then not only that, and I talked and put the information out there for Miss Janet Bradford of Motown, and looking for her to get back with me. But
also, let's talk about her. Now we're talking about legends, okay?
Yeah.
You had opportunity on your show to meet one of the legends of Motown. I said one of the the backbones, not the legend. She was the backbone as well as the legend.
Janice Bradford. She wrote. She was one of the first 4 writers of Motown when they formed Motown together. It was her, Barry Gordon, Lamont Dozier, and Norman Whitfield.
Mm-hmm.
And they formed the Motown. From my understanding, talking with her, there wasn't a Motown when they were together. They formed Motown. Barry formed Motown with them there. And several hits. Personally, those songs are the marvelous. You beat me to the punch. You have those were poems that she had. She was a poem writer, and Barry took those poems after meeting Barry Gordon. He took her poems and translated them into songs. And all of those marvelous, The Temptations, Beauty on the Skin Deep. I say I know 80% of the Motown classic hits she had her finger on.
Yeah. You just said a second ago that you learn by being around an artist, that you learn by being with experiencing what they experienced, and that you know it's in a song that they wrote about.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the thing. Okay, as I said before, these are all the stories. Okay, about somebody's life that you're listening to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and somebody, you know, that's right. And like I said, people need to understand that that's a very important part of the industry is people who can write poetry.
Yeah.
Who can put it in the right hands.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a person that learn to write, but I have yet to put my poem in the right hands, okay, where it can get to the right people.
And you can see it take off. Look at Miss Shirley.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Cause she said it that I understand that Tyler Perry looking at her to join forces with that, so she went from line dancing down to the television screen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just your team and how your team handles you and who they know.
Right, and see that's where you know we have to understand that this is a small world that we find ourselves in as blacks, okay, that are doing what you and I would have been best to do on a regular basis. You know, and you'd be surprised how many people who listen to us, okay, who go away and say, well, I heard on the Iceberg show that he said this. Or I heard Ira and them talk about this on their show. You know, and they going off with those information that we share with them as being facts. And so that's why it's so important for us to do our best to get the facts straight.
Exactly, and keep it straightforward.
Going straight forward and open up the doors, okay. You know, I love opening the doors. Somebody open the door for me. You know, and then once you get opportunity, you know, to walk in the door, make sure you don't forget where you came from.
That's for sure, because it's one thing for sure that I don't know, as I mentioned when we first opened, that during the pandemic and when we teed operations out there at Ferguson, you giving me the opportunity to come out there gave me the determination to continue streaming here or making forward to that. And I always thank you guys for that and exactly what we were talking about, opening doors and bringing somebody else with you or in with you.
We'll see, Iceberg. We'll see all that we did, you know, and we had some good times, okay, in our shows, okay. You know, and our favorite song was "God Got It." You know what I mean? That was our theme song that we played all the time. But it was a show that God got it, and then we had fun, and we were learning from each other.
Exactly.
And, you know, and it opened up other doors, because when you left to go start your own thing, okay, I was keeping things together. I came briefly the general manager out there for a while to keep things together. To Scott came on. Thank God for Scott. Okay, but in doing that, it gave me the real opportunity, Iceberg, to say I was a general manager in another life on the FM station, and also after the general manager in internet radio. And I can say I was involved both at the inception of FM radio when the first got started. You know, back in the 70s, I was general manager then, and in the radio, it was just getting started then. Now it's becoming more popular every day now.
No, for sure. And you referring to FM?
I'm talking
or
about
internet?
not talking about now. So initially, when I first got involved in radio, that's when FM first got started.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm saying now I've been blessed to have been general manager when internet radio was getting started.
Yeah. Well, I remember I heard your name many years before I met you. Let me put it like that.
Well, I hope it's all good.
Oh yeah. I just know radio personality and remember their names and because I was just a young man that I didn't have no radio blasting the whole neighborhood away. But I carried a transistor radio and I always listened to different radio stations. And you pioneer radio yourself, Mr. Ironfolk.
Well, thank you. But I carried an FM radio of my own self. You know what, Iceberg? It was that desire to seek for clarity and information to get the facts. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Once you was exposed to what's beyond your neighborhood, and that you had that little transistor radio in your hand, okay? I remember when I first I was down south. There's a young white boy who was a paper guy on our block, right? Well, at the time, when you had an earplug in your ear, in our neighborhood, okay, it meant that you was hard of hearing, okay. And I was saying, damn, he's a young kid, but he had this earplug in his radio, okay, while he was doing his route, listening to his radio.
Yeah.
And so eventually I got the same thing that he was doing. I got the earplug in my ear, okay, listen to my radio, because you couldn't just blast it in your house, okay. Shut that radio off. What you talking? We talking here. And
yeah.
So you had to get that that earplug. Okay.
Yeah. I don't before the earplugs. I don't even on transistor radio days. I don't even remember no headphones.
Well, see, everybody didn't have no. That was something rare. No fact. I hate to sound like the white and black, but the kid I was talking about, he's a white kid that could afford a headset.
Yeah.
Most of us would have just afford.
This was in the 70s,
right? But back in the 60s.
Oh well, even then, man. Okay.
Yeah, this was back in the 60s. I'm talking about.
Yeah. I know they had the little white card where you stick it in your ear and then you take it and stick it in the radio. I remember that earpiece.
Right. And I'm talking that earpiece. I'm talking about that earpiece.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's why I said when we first started this idea, okay, that when I saw that, I thought that he was hard of hearing.
I got you. Yeah.
He actually listened to the radio.
Yeah, I feel you.
When I got older, okay, and I'm saying, but that's because he lived on the side of the town that could afford a radio and in the earplug.
Yeah.
I was happy just to have afford a radio at that time. A little transistor radio my mother gave me.
Because everybody didn't walk around with one of those either.
No. So I just was always curious, like you were curious about, how did this work? As a matter of fact, Iceberg was my engineer at the station, and without him, nothing went. And he was able to figure out the computers there and understand how all this came together. And and we kind of educate each other right there.
Right, we were both learning each other. We were both learning,
Yeah, and it was an experience. Don't get me wrong. It was an experience just to learn how to do what we were trying to get done.
Well, that's what makes it all good here. That I find out and know what's going on because of the experience that I had out there. So
right. Oh yeah, no. It was an experience for all of us back in those days. As a matter of fact, Iceberg, you got a buddy of yours just called in like you normally do at close to 2:30. Chuck DeVoe.
Good afternoon.
Chuck, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful.
I got Iceberg on the line today.
What's up, Ice?
Hey, Chuck, how you doing, buddy?
I'm alive and kicking and still right here raising sand.
I'm glad to hear your voice there.
Yeah, man.
I'm glad to be along with you all.
You sound like you right in the middle of it. What you up to?
Oh, we were just talking about a whole lot of topics about what's going on, and I was looking forward to hearing from you, so I know exactly what's going on.
I can tell you. I can tell you exactly that.
That's what I'm talking about.
You know what I mean? It ain't exact. I'm hearing a whole lot of reactions, but you know, like when you really want to get into something, just you talk about like follow the money, right? Where's the money going, or who's doing what, or what's happening, and while they got everybody looking to the left, what's going on to the right, and what's going on behind the scenes, and it's a lot. It is a lot happening, a whole lot happening, and I'm really, the safe bet is to not bet. You know what I mean? It ain't about a Democrat or a Republican. You know, it's about what's happening at our house, what's happening at your house, and if y'all got a cup of sugar, can I trade you a cup of salt or something, and can we figure out something how to not have to be caught up in the game? You know what I mean? And by that, I'm talking about doing business with each other. I'm talking about shared experiences. I'm talking about best practices. And, so what? We're going to let this election, this midterms, we're going to let it go down, and then we're going to worry about the government shutdown? This is happening, man. This is really happening in the sense that you got computers that just put it in and say, okay, if we shut down today, what are all the budgets affected, or what are all the things going? Now I'm hearing something today they're talking about. They want to blame Trump to say, okay, Trump, figure it out, get the food stamps going again, feed these people, and let's get the show on the road. And so I'm like saying, did the Democrats really just play this into his hand like that? I mean, if you want to have a voice in it, if you want to have something to do with it, you gotta make yourself matter. It's kind of like sitting on the bench.
Exactly.
If you can't get in the game, then do we even know you're on the bench? And
exactly.
And if you have a chance to do something, to score a basket or to throw a layup or something, to make yourself of use, then you matter. But I'm just saying, man, on both sides of it, you could play it like that, like, okay, so we're just going to let this stalemate and ain't nothing going to happen. Well, something is happening, you see.
Yes.
It does have a toll. It does take a fee on this thing. I mean, a cost. There's a cost to this thing. And it's starting to show up. I mean, it's really starting to show up. So you can be mad all you want about it, but you still need to eat. I'm going to tell you something, man. This thing with the air traffic controllers, let's watch that. Let's watch that, because they're like saying, we were nice. We went along with it for a minute. We weren't getting paid, and we still, we knew we weren't going to get paid, but we were coming in being nice about it. Now they're saying, man, I'm calling in. I'm not coming because I got to go do Uber. Or I got to go do something. You got to get some groceries.
You got to feed your family.
Yeah.
They had, so all that was to say, all right, so what's the biggest travel day of the year? What's the second biggest travel day of the year? What's getting ready to happen, man? I mean, it's a setup. They know what's up. Everybody knows what's up, what's happening. Thanksgiving is about to happen, man.
Yes.
They had, I don't know, over 3,000 delays yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they rising every day.
Yeah, because people are like saying, all right, I tried to help y'all out. I tried, I was playing along with it, but now, and so if there is a way that a Trump or somebody can just, I don't know, pull some money from somewhere and pay these people, that's going to end up being the hero. And then they're going to have to turn around and say, oh, well, Trump saved. Well, it really wasn't the president's headache. You got Congress, you got Senate and the House, and you got people in there voting that are collecting a check. Y'all supposed to be doing something. It shouldn't always have to be. Shouldn't always have to be on that like that.
Well, Chuck, one of the things, I've heard in my lifetime that they have said something, do nothing Congress is okay, but I never saw one this bad.
This is different. I mean, they're not even talking.
I know it.
It's like something's engineered or what, or I'm like saying, okay, so what is really it?
And one of the things, Chuck, and you know better than most, and so do you, Iceberg. Matter of fact, you on the street, Iceberg. Check us up there where this accident going on in D.C. At any level that you find yourself, and I put myself in the middle of all this, you have to communicate with each other for things to function. And one thing that we all do, we have in common, we all send somebody to Washington, D.C. to be our senator or our House representative member. And they're there to tell the people how we feel and then bring us back the message, what is going on. And so now there is no pipeline to the community about what is going on. There's only one mouthpiece right now. And be you Democrat or be you Republican or Independent. All you hear about right now is what Donald Trump is doing. Or what he ain't doing.
That's because nobody talented. Nobody's there. And some of the politicians figure that if they don't have the support of the community and the people behind them, why would they politically assassinate themselves in their office? Because we don't hold them responsible for what they're supposed to do when they get there.
Well, Chuck just made the point right now, You hold them responsible because they run for office every 2 years.
Yeah, exactly.
And every 2 years, if you haven't did anything, made some improvements or some changes, you need to be replaced. And that's why they have to run every 2 years. You got to get 2 years to get in there and speak about or find out what is going on, and then how you can bring back to us, in our community. What did you do? What is your report? We all should be getting them a report card, right, Chuck?
That's right. Well, I mean, but isn't that like too much like right?
Chuck,
what are we getting for our money, or what are we doing? What are you doing for your job? What are you doing for your seat? And part of it is, that's not really your job to go up here and try to tell us what to think. I can tell you right now that there's smoke coming out the shed in the back, and we need a fireman or somebody go in there and see what that smoke is, because in a minute it's going to be a fire if it's smoke. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, if y'all don't figure this out, there's going to be a shutdown. Okay, everybody's like, we don't care. We're going to let it shut down. It'll be your fault. Okay, you shut it down then, and it'll be your fault. So that ain't got nothing to do with us, really, to be truthful about it. But I'm gonna tell you something, man. It's getting ready to be no joke, because you know what you're getting ready to find out? It's a whole lot of white folks getting them food stamps.
Chuck,
let me tell you something.
The statistics just show Missouri that it's more than blacks here on the survey. They just show that I saw on the news.
And I ain't hating or whatever, but I'm just saying, okay, so y'all think like food stamps or SNAP, it's like poor people, or it's the hood, or this, that, or the other. And, a lot of people in the hood can't get them anyway for whatever reason. It might be that the paperwork ain't right, or maybe this or that, but I'm hearing them saying now that the military people are on food stamps too. And they got, up here, they're like getting food banks and places where if you're in the military, a military spouse or something like that, that you can come in. It's like a food pantry or whatever. You can come in here and pick you up some stuff, some canned goods and all that. But it's like, dang. Yesterday we were, we were royalty. We were defending the country. We're down here keeping drugs out or fighting terrorism. And today, man, we can't even get a grocery. I should feed my family. That's when it's going. It's like, okay, that's enough.
There's another spin to it, okay, another shoe, I should say, that had to drop. All these National Guards that's going into these different cities, okay, they had jobs. They would take care of their families, okay. And when they go off, to do the National Guard stuff, sometimes they don't get paid. That means that their families don't eat. And so right now it's kind of hard for you to be doing this stuff, okay, over here. Like now, I'm fighting abroad. I'm over here fighting for my country, and my country cannot even feed my people. And I'm not going to feed other countries. That doesn't make good sense.
Yeah, and so we probably need a good debater if you really want to get into the issue. But just to think that average Joe, let's just say we're the barbershop. We sit around talking at the barbershop. And if the reason that the Republicans didn't want to agree to it is because there was supposed to be health care for illegal immigrants, I'm like saying, how could it come down to that? You know what I mean? If everybody's gonna suffer if the Republicans or whatever, we didn't agree that we're gonna put in the budget for illegal aliens, the same people they're picking up and trying to put out. And not all of them need to be put out, but I'm not saying it. But the point is, that's what this is about, and putting in stuff like gender assignment, for underage people, that you're supposed to have the right, your child, that you can go get an abortion without the parent knowing, or you can change your sex without the parents knowing. I mean, those are kind of issues. Like, come on, y'all, really? Now, really, we don't that. It may be something that needs to be discussed in politics, but it don't come before all this other stuff.
In your house, okay, you know what you go. All of a sudden you thought you had a son, and now you got a daughter, and nobody told you what's going on. And then you're responsible for taking care of Leroy, who's now Linda. But that's what he Chuck. A lot of that do not go on in our community that I'm aware of. In your community, were you aware of that we have a lot of these sex changes?
Man, I heard they were. I heard that up there around, when you're on the tollway up there by Indiana and Chicago, up around there.
Yeah.
They had been doing roadblocks, and they found that the commercial drivers and people driving the trucks, within a day or two, they arrested 142 drivers for having fraudulent driver's license, commercial CDLs, commercial driver license. And
I can see that.
And they just said, we're just gonna start checking stuff. And at the same time, there's some crazy accidents, where truck drivers fell asleep. That's what they said.
Right here in St. Louis.
And they were really drunk, or they were really on drugs, or something was going on. But I'm just saying, man,
they said Chuck, they said they distracted.
Yeah. But I'm like saying, and you're wondering why you can't get your goods, or why this ain't happening, or that ain't going right, or it's a contribution of a lot of different things that are kind of breaking down, all at the same time, and that's what I'm saying about you say like what's going on. I'm saying it's coming to the head. It's getting ready to come to. It's going to blow up.
Well,
we can't really just where they gonna kick the can. You can't just keep kicking the can down the road.
I think the kicking the can days have come all coming to an end because right now you mentioned that truckload that got pulled over. It was going someplace with prize for some company. It was full. Over 60,000 pounds of something was going someplace.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when that truck gets pulled over, that 6,000 pounds ain't going no place, and that's a shortage someplace where we're supposed to be at. And that drive the prices. It could have been coffee on that truck. Or it could have been, some peanut butter and jelly, peanut butter, or something simple as that was being transported. Or it could be a refrigerated truck. Okay, it could be, it could be some milk that they going, get taken from the dairy to someplace else. Well, but you talking about 100 and something being stopped. That's a lot of. You got to look beyond the drivers. Okay, look about what they were carrying. The tonnage they were responsible for, and what shortage is that going to create? Like you said, follow the money, Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how. And see, there's so many ways to follow the money nowadays than ever before.
And what they did was they started pulling the driver's license, and they started saying, okay, they were coming from New York, California, and Florida, or something like that. Mm-hmm. And what they're saying is the system, somebody was taking bribes to give these illegal citizens, they were issuing them driver's license.
Mm-hmm.
And it's part of this whole thing of anteing it up, and they're kind of saying that it had the same thing to do, and this is how they start building the case, that it had the same cities where they're having problems with immigration enforcement or other things. You know what I'm saying? They're starting to build a case and start to follow the money and to see where are we spending money and who's taking money in, where's it coming from. So the this is where the whole story comes together. So the longer this goes, the more they're kind of starting to say, well, Daddy, help us. See, and that was the whole reason why it started beginning. You didn't want Daddy to help us. See, we ain't trying to make Trump our daddy. You know what I mean? Can't nothing work. We can't get along. We can't get this done. There ain't no money to feed these soldiers, or there ain't no money to feed the police. And Trump done cut this off. And Trump done that, did that. And all y'all had to do was go in there and say, okay, we're gonna give up. We don't have to have the insurance for illegal aliens. Or could have came out in public and said, all right, we're not gonna fight that one on behalf of the people. Because of behalf of the people that need to get these benefits. Or, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands are out of work just from the government alone. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's crazy up here in D.C. See, that government, the paychecks, oh man, the paychecks go everywhere. They go for McDonald's, they go for the cleaners, they go for the gas station, they go for nails, hair care, they go for tolls on the road, and I mean, it's everything. Government been collecting a lot of money, man. And see, that's the other thing Trump proved. One thing I say about Trump, he collected some crazy money off these tariffs.
4 minutes,
as a matter of fact, they stopped talking about the deficit.
Right. And that's not just yesterday, Thursday, they passed a resolution in the Senate where the president the tariffs are supposed to be set by the congressional body, not by the president. And that's something that, again, with the House not being in session and the Senate being limited session, that's in the House representative, there's no bills being debated, okay? And see, people have to understand that the House representative is where all budgetary bills come from. And that's the only way, he gets. I just read off the start of the program about 10 different departments that that's not funded and had time to do it. Well, hell, they had 6 weeks to do it while they were on vacation. They could have had something to do. But they chose not to. And so we supposed to be stupid, okay, and say, well, they didn't have time with the deal. I mean, use on vacation. No, you were not. You were not doing our business. Am I right, Chuck?
Ira, this is a good moment. You're right, but this is even a good moment for us to have this kind of conversation, so that we can just kind of maybe take a time out from whatever side or whatever uniform or where, And I raise my hand. I'm independent because I like to see the right and the wrong on both sides. I'm never going to come on here and tell you something's good for you that I know is not good for you.
Likewise.
2 minutes, gentlemen.
Okay, well, guess what? 2 minutes, Chuck, tell us something good that you know.
There's let me just tell you about what we do. We're coming out with our man. We got a portal. It's hot. Missouri Black Chamber is going to be a part of it, but we got 215,000 funders, people that want to make loans or invest in your business, and all you got to do is just be ready. It's kind of like, do you know the language? Is your paperwork right? Do you have a PowerPoint? We got a boot camp online virtual training where it will help you get all your stuff aligned, and we're going to certify you and go to the 250,000. It's ready. He's been through the boot camp. He knows how to talk to you. He knows what to present. He knows what you're looking for. And as a matter of fact, exactly what you're looking for, Ira's got it right here in Missouri Black Chamber, and you don't have to go searching no more. And they'll come. So that's called the 360i Innovation and Entrepreneurial Hub, powered by Startup Science. We got a prototype going. You got a free login thing where you can just go and check it out yourself right now. There's 253 grants in there right now, but it's always updated. We got some mentors, we got consultants, we got everybody. It's our community hub. And so you're going to be hearing a lot more about it. But that's what I've really been working on this week. So God bless y'all. Thank you for your time, and thank you for listening.
Okay, and also, Iceberg, we want to thank you. In fact, this is kind of old time. We all together here for the first time in years.
Yeah, in a long time.
It's a long time. So, Iceberg, thank you for your time.
Okay, and
beautiful.
Also, I know we got about a minute. I'd like to remind those that's in the field, thanks for listening and joining us, and of course, continue supporting the Ira Harris and Lunch with Ira Harris, Missouri Black Chamber of Commerce. And also, don't forget Saturday, November the 8th at St. Philip's Lutheran Church on 2424 Andy Malone. That's right across Catty Corner from Sumner. We're going to have the state